I'm Erica. Sitting here in the courtroom, watching the man who was once my husband being led away in handcuffs, a sense of surreal calm washes over me. The verdict is in, guilty. 22 years in federal prison. It's a sentence that feels both long overdue and shockingly final. My mind drifts back to that fateful night, the night my world turned upside down. I was sitting across from my husband, Ryan, at our favorite restaurant by the Chicago River. The atmosphere was warm and familiar, the kind of place where we celebrated anniversaries and milestones. Ryan was acting as he always did, charming and attentive, but little did I know that behind his smile, a sinister plan was unfolding. I remember how relaxed I felt that evening. The view of the city lights reflecting on the river, the soft jazz playing in the background, and Ryan's gentle touch on my hand. I was so happy, so naive. I had no idea that the wine I was sipping would be laced with poison. As the night went on, I started to feel strange. A headache, a feeling of lightheadedness. I brushed it off as the wine, but deep down, I knew something was wrong. Ryan pretended to be concerned, offering me water and suggesting we go outside for some air. But as we drove away from the restaurant, I realized that we weren't going to the hospital. The road grew dark, the trees closing in on either side. I asked Ryan where we were going, but he didn't answer. His expression was cold and distant, nothing like the man I thought I knew. And then, he confessed. He told me that he had poisoned me, that he had done it for the money, for the life he thought he could have with another woman. I was in shock. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. How could the man I had loved and trusted for 7 years do this to me? I begged him to help me, to take me to the hospital, but he refused. He opened the car door and forced me out onto the side of the road, leaving me to die. I lay there in the cold, the pain in my body intensifying with every breath. I felt so alone, so betrayed. I thought about all the times we had shared, all the promises we had made. And I realized that it had all been a lie. But then, I saw a light. A car was approaching, and I summoned the last of my strength to wave for help. It was Daniel, a business acquaintance I had met at industry conferences. He didn't hesitate. He pulled over and rushed to my side, calling for an ambulance and taking me to his medical center. I woke up in a private hospital room, surrounded by the sound of beeping machines and the smell of antiseptic. A woman introduced herself as Dr. Helen Reeves, a toxicologist. She told me that I had been poisoned with an organophosphate compound, a fast-acting and deadly toxin. I was lucky to be alive. Daniel stayed by my side, listening as I told him everything that had happened. He was angry, but he was also determined to help me. He contacted Detective Laura Simmons, and together, they began to build a case against Ryan. Over the next few days, the evidence against Ryan began to mount. His financial records showed that he was deeply in debt, with over $320,000 in gambling losses and unpaid loans. His messages to a woman named Lily, a young salesgirl he had met at a clothing store, revealed his plan to kill me and start a new life with her. And the surveillance footage from the restaurant showed him pouring the poison into my wine glass. Lily was shocked when she learned the truth. She had no idea that Ryan was married, let alone that he was capable of such a heinous crime. She agreed to cooperate with the investigation, providing the police with all the evidence they needed. Ryan was arrested at a bank, where he had gone to claim my estate. He was shocked to see me alive, and he tried to deny everything. But the evidence was overwhelming, and he was soon found guilty of attempted first-degree murder. As I sit here in the courtroom, watching Ryan being led away, I feel a sense of closure. The man who tried to take my life is finally being held accountable for his actions. But I also know that the road to recovery will be long and difficult. I've had to learn to trust again, to believe in myself and my own instincts. I've had to learn to set boundaries and to say no. And I've had to learn to forgive, not for Ryan's sake, but for my own. My body has healed, but the emotional scars will take time to fade. I've learned that strength is not the absence of vulnerability, but but the ability to face it head-on. And I've learned that justice is not about revenge, but about restoring truth to its rightful place. Looking back on that night, I realized that it was a wake-up call. It taught me the importance of trust, of honesty, and of standing up for myself. It taught me that sometimes, the people we love the most can hurt us the deepest. But it also taught me that there is always hope, that there is always a way forward. As I leave the courthouse, I take a deep breath of fresh air. The sun is shining, and the world feels new again. I know that the future will be full of challenges, but I'm ready to face them. I'm ready to live my life, not as a victim, but as a survivor.